summer days of entertaining with large groups of family and friends, and then having the option or the possibility to relocate north or south, if you're watching me from the other hemisphere, for the winter, and doing the same thing again, essentially flying people in and out. So ladies and gents, this is the Riviera 6000 Sport Yacht Platinum. She's an absolute perfect entertainer, and she's a really, really great liveaboard in your summer city of choice. And we're going to explain that in this video. My name's Dan Jones, welcome to Dan's Boat Life. We will be taking this boat for a drive. So if you're interested in how this layout is, and if you like the design for you, you're very welcome to join us in the next video, and you can see how she drives, and we will be taking her out in the ocean as well. So just starting the tour on the back of the boat, we do have a hydraulic drop-down platform. However, we don't need to store the tender here because we have a hidden tender garage. So this is a little bit more Euro style. So she comes up on a couple electric worm drives, and you've got, you do a little center console with an outboard engine, inflatable rib will just slide out of her tracks. And you can also throw a lot of, toys, surfboards, stand-up paddleboards, that sort of thing in there. We've got top access as well. So access up and into the cockpit is via both stairs on port and starboard. They're equal width, and underneath here you've got shore power, retractable cable, salt and freshwater wash, plus a pressure wash. These are just for fenders because you secure the boat on the big cleats up there, and we'll show you that in a second. And just pay attention to the styling. This design, it's a handsome yacht. Like, it's a good looking thing. If you've got a really sexy house, like a lot of these people up here on the Gold Coast, and you want a boat to match your house, or in Miami, I see this working well for that purpose. We've got another shore power connection under here. You've just opened this little hatch here, and you've got controls to access the tender garage. You can do the aft sunroof. Wait till you see how much overhead glass we have on this thing. It's amazing. And then you've got the lights, the drop-down table operation from here. These are the kid and doggy doors, proper solid stainless steel from Riviera. They never let you down in that term. And then you can send your lines through here, and this is where you would secure the boat. But come on in and check out this cockpit, because this is what it's all about. Full sun protection, full weather protection, opening windows, airflow if we choose, generator, gyro, air conditioning or heat as well. So you pick the season, whatever you want it to be, it can do. But you've got nice communication from the helm to the different seating areas out to the back of the boat. So if you're an owner operator and you want to socialize with your mates, this is going to be fantastic. But just starting here and working my way around, we've got the sliding glass doors, as you would see on all Rivieras. This hinges up on the gas strut, and she's secured with a little safety latch just there. This seat, all of these seats have just got simple covers that remove, so you don't have to do anything with the upholstery. But then underneath this one and this one, we have storage, but underneath the port one, it's potentially a kill box because it's also a drained esky and a little bit deeper. We have stereo control out the back here. We've got the TV, aft camera for some extra situational awareness. But because we're on the D11 Volvos, we do have wing stations. We've got 2 wing stations on this boat, and we can activate DPS, which is Dynamic Positioning System. We cover this in the next video. So you can really, in a relaxed manner, just press that button at the helm, cruise on out the back here, and look at your visibility all the way forward, and same on the port side. And pay attention to the drone pictures that we've done for you today, because the bow actually slopes down and forward. So as an owner operator, from that center position at the main helm, or even anywhere around on the boat, you've got really wonderful viz. So it's a really great boat for driving in busy waterways, i.e. Sydney Harbour, Miami, etc., because you can see all around and you can have a good handle on what's going on without having to rely on cameras. That's not necessarily the same when you compare it to, say, the fly bridges or the SUVs even, which can obviously, some of this part of the boat is going to be mixed up with stairs to get up to the fly bridge, or bigger units for essentially people who want to go away and do longer trips on their boats as opposed to entertaining. So yeah, we've got the sunroof here, that's fiberglass, so no glass, you get full sun protection. We've got the extended bimini. This is just a weight saving thing. You don't want to have too much weight aloft. So they do this in the material, but it's top Australian quality, which means much better than anything made in Europe. This is going to last for years. It's not going to shit itself in the sun as opposed to some of the stuff you get out of Europe. We've just got the see-through clears here, drink holders. This is the other wing station. On the port side here, you've got little storage nooks tucked in the side. This table just here actually electrically lowers, and then there's a cushion that goes over it, and there's a stainless steel support that falls out from underneath this seat to give it some rigidity. So it's a full-on day bed, but protected from the wind, and that's your view. So it's pretty awesome. And the next thing, the Barbie station, it's a proper Barbie setup. So here you go. That's a 2 flat plate and then the grill, and then you've got the ice maker, fridge, and then storage in here. And then we've got the sink with hot and cold and a cutting plate or a cutting board, I guess, just on this side. And it's nice to see some stainless steel. That's going to stop things rolling around, falling off, although we are on the genset and the gyro, so any waves that come through from passing boats today, you'll see that they're not going to affect our stability. So through this hatch here, this gives you direct access straight into the tender garage, and you're essentially straight over the open bow of your tender, which is a great place to chuck fenders. So it's just another option. We have more fender storage forward, and you can also throw them in from the aft of the tender garage if it's open, but this is a nice, quick and easy access. This hatch, just forward of that, is another option to get into the engine room, but because we have an equipment space or optional crew room, it's probably easier to enter from that part of the boat. So come on in and get a feel for the roof, because we got a beautiful amount of glass and it can all be knocked out. Actually, I meant to leave this half. So you don't need the sun. For any of the Aussies watching, it's not a problem. We can totally knock it all out. And you've got the other thing from this side for the mozzies. So you can still pop it open and protect the boat from any mozzies coming in. So that's a nice feature. But it's just, just imagine in winter when you don't mind about the heat from the sun, you can still enjoy a beautiful view, or even on a rainy day, it'll be quite pleasant. So we'll just cover this galley, heaps going on. So remember, we've already got a fridge and an ice maker and a potential esky or kill box out the back, but we also have fridge, dishwasher, just here, nice drawer one, that'll do for small parties. Fridge, like heaps of refrigeration on this boat, but they might be fridge freezers. I just get confused which one's which, so don't hold me to it. And then you've got, starting on the starboard side, you've got a lot of workspace. A lot of your glassware and that sort of stuff can be stored in these drawers here. This is a nice place. A lot of people put vases and dress their boats a little bit, but quite clearly we've got a flat screen TV in that location just there. We have the C zone. So coming close, I know a lot of you probably seen this on my videos before, but if you're new to Rivieras, they have been designed to be easy to operate. So you literally just press cruising, dock unattended, entertaining, having a sleep, service mode, and it just switches all the necessary switches required for you to go cruising. It turns them on, and then when you want to leave, it turns all the switches required to be turned off. So it's really bloody simple. The other thing is, if you're running the generator and you're going from shore to ship's power, it does the switch over for you rather than you having to go somewhere on the boat and go, okay, I'm now taking power from shore to ship and working all that out for yourself. You don't need to. Air conditioning controls, 240 or 110 depending on what part of the world you're in. Light switches, that's the Jenny operation, on off just there. More glassware, everything is branded in Riviera logos just up here. We have flush overhead speakers, nice leather finishing overhead, and then more glassware, and even all of your plates and your bowls and things. See how they're held in place, so you don't actually, unless you're really dropping off some waves, nothing rattles around on these boats, and they're built solid as. They're built for the ocean, and it's just very, very noticeable when you drive these things in the ocean, which we'll do in the next video. So we have a big bin, and that's drained and washable. That's probably your primary bin, but we also have other bins throughout the boat. We have pantry, just pull out from here. We've got a big storage area for pots and pans, perfect just in this location. This is the Millet oven. We've got the 1, 2, 3 burner, big, medium, small, and then we've got the sucky air thing just above that, so you can extract the air, but we also have a good amount of airflow from the 1, 2, 3 opening possibilities forward, but that's all doable. And then we've got more charging points. They're also doing the USBs, air conditioning, deep drawers, little drawers, cutlery drawer, more storage just here, and twin sinks just here, stainless steel here and here. Nice fancy tap. That one doesn't pull out because you've got the dishwasher just here. So what we'll do, we'll just move forward. So we've gone from the teak, and now we're still on a marine timber look floor. I don't know what the actual name for it is, but just pay attention to the Corian, how it has sort of got this waterfall vibe going on. I think that's a nice touch, but you choose how you want to fit these boats out. So you can do the high gloss, but a lot of people also go for satin as well, which is like more of a matte finish. So you do you, and they actually have a center at the factory and a lady who is really good at styling, interior styling of boats, because I've seen her work. And you just have a meeting with her and just tell her what you're after, and she will design an interior that works for you with all the cushions and all the upholstery and everything. But this little lounge here, super comfy. They always do a great job with the foam. You could sleep on these things, no worries. But this will actually pull out just here. It's super tough to pull out because you don't want it slipping out of place in a seaway. And then you have a small table which folds out of this location. So we don't have only those 2 tables. We have another one here which might sort of work as a bit of a breakfast bar, should you choose. This is probably the interior dining area, because this is a big fixed table. We've got 2 big stainless steel legs. Look at the base on that. She ain't going nowhere. And you'll get 6 people around here, no problems whatsoever. We still have the opening window on the port side, but we've got air conditioning just around me. So this whole area can be climate controlled. And there's actually blinds hidden just up underneath here. So for privacy or for sun, if you're at the marina, you can pull the blinds down all the way around. I know a lot of the Aussies do this because when you pack up your Riviera, it's quite a simple process. It's just covers over the cushions out the back, covers over the sun lounge, pull the blinds down, you're done. So you're not sort of faffing around like you do with, say, like some open flybridge boats where you got covers everywhere, or some sports cruises where you got to zip up all the clears. The idea on a Riviera, it's just keep it simple, make it easy to operate, and just go do more boating. So that's the vibe. So let's get into the Helm. She's a lovely boat to drive, and I want to just stress the design, because when we look forward, your sight lines are great on this thing because the bow drops down, and here in the middle of the boat where the Helm is, we're in a slightly raised position. You just have a really wonderful visibility all around. So your situational awareness, people on kayaks or small tinnies in front of you, you're going to see them on this boat. It's not like having a huge, big, high flared bow where if someone gets into a risk point or a danger point in front of you, they disappear underneath your bow. This is not that sort of design. So, if you are going to be driving in busy areas and you want a big boat, then that's where this design may suit you. The other reason, from this seated position, if you just look over my shoulder here and here, see these windows, how they stretch all the way back? I can just do this or this, and I've got full viz. I can see everything, and because of the design externally, I can see very close to the boat, which again is not the case on every design of boat of this length. You do have a lot of blind spots on some larger vessels, not the case on this one. So just from a safety perspective, if you're going to be running around in areas where there's people swimming, people kayaking, as you see in any summer busy anchorage, this might suit you for that purpose. So what's going on at the Helm? Nice grey matte leather, and I guess you call this suede, so no reflections in your face, but we've got the touchpad or the buttons to control the Garmin flat screens forward, so we don't have to reach forward. However, they're also touchscreen. We are twin engine IPS D11s, and we've got the DPS, so we can hold position here. Then if we want to dock the boat with the joystick, we have standard docking and high mode. We demonstrate in that in the next video. As you can see, my legs don't touch the footrest, but don't worry, they've got a solution for that. Here we go. So it electrically goes forward. I'm not going to do it all the way, but it goes up and down, forward and back, and then this backrest, there's a button just back here, and see that? So you can, you've got long arms, you need to make more room, it all works, it's all possible. We've got the screen wash, so that's the freshwater wash, and then that runs automatically for a set period of time, and then you can cycle through both wipers individually, and then you press each button, you set them on different speeds. This is the traditional throttle here, electronic throttle. You can operate it in the single lever mode. Super comfy. If you're in a seaway, just rest your hand on that. This is the second C-zone display, so you don't have to use the bigger 9-inch one at the back of the boat. This 6-inch one is available to the helmsman or woman. We have the VHF just here. This is the ignition operation, start, stop, super simple. There is a security key fob if you're worried about that. We have the searchlight just there. This is the chain counter. This is the engine diagnostics. That's the Seakeeper control. Obviously, these are multifunctional displays, so you can run through your charts, you can do your radar, you've got cameras. All these rivs, they've got really useful chain counter cameras. So as long as you, once you are on final approach to your anchorage, as long as you go forward or send someone forward to release the safety, you can do everything else from the helm because you've got full viz on the chain and the anchor. You can see everything, so you don't really need anyone standing up on the bow. So that's kind of handy if your missus doesn't want to get too involved in all of that part of the anchoring. She doesn't need to, especially on this boat. Horn, all of our bilge operations, got this sunroof, that's this one overhead, is operated by these buttons, and then we've got all of our navigation lights, saloon lights, a few other buttons just here. Good place for throwing things forward. Air conditioning right on your face just there, which is handy. We've got a couple of drink holders, decent size. You can have a tinny with a cooler on just there. And this footrest is nice and big. It's got a bit of grip on it as well. This seat also has some function. It's got forward and back and the backrest, but it doesn't have the up and down. A storage area for safety gear and manual firebuoy release, plus a little bit more storage tucked in just on the side of the helm. But overall, super functional from the perspective of the design of the hull and this helm location. So when you need to go and do your close quarter stuff, just press that DPS, casually walk out to the back of the boat. You've got a clear run, you've got all your guests are going to be in this seat, or that seat. So it's an easy piece of kit to operate. So we've got some vents forward for demisting this windscreen. We have a little bit of overhang, but not as much as the SUVs or sport motor yachts. So the midday sun may penetrate this glass a little bit more than some of those other designs, because I think they're favoring external styling a little bit more than practicality when you compare it to the SUV, for example. So come on down here. This is the presidential layout. There's two more layouts. Classic layout, it's actually got overhead bunks, wait a sec, on port just here, and then you've got this guest cabin. The optional lounge has got a little U-shaped lounge tucked in here, but this one's cool because it's got, it's basically perfectly suited to snowbirds. And anyone in the Southern Hemisphere who doesn't understand what that means, people in America, they have a summer house up in Maine, and then they go down to Florida in winter because it snows. So basically they head south when we head north. They call them snowbirds. We do the same thing, and it makes perfect sense for anyone who wants to stay 6 weeks or more on their boat, having all of this, the layout and the features that we've got here. So come on down and let's just go straight into the VIP. She's super nice with this high gloss. Look at the timber feature at the bedhead. I think that's a nice touch. I just left this blind down halfway so you could see that they are proper block out blinds, but then we do have a nice hull window, which from your sight line, when you're sitting in the bed, you're going to see straight out that window. So it's going to be quite pleasant. We do have an escape and natural air ventilation straight over the berth just there. And then we've got hanging lockers on both sides. We actually have some extra lockers. We've got a place to put our phone on either side. Your bedding's going to go well in these drawers. We actually have a few more drawers on the bulkhead. And then we've got a TV and an AC control just all tucked in here with another hanging locker behind me. So it's super neat. This is all soft to touch, but there's also a sound insulation layer built into these bulkheads. So this material is serving a functional purpose as well, because it's trying to suck out or do some sound absorption for when you're underway, but also when people are staying on the boat. So that kind of makes sense. So this is the private head to the VIP. So we've got some storage behind the loo just here. It's all vacuum flush on these boats. So that means freshwater flush, no smells. Storage, nice vanity, big mirror, more fresh air ventilation. It is air conditioned as well. Air conditioning vents in there. Another, wait a sec. No, just air conditioning vents there. I was looking at the reflection on that. We don't have the rain head shower, but we got one of those maneuverable ones just there. Little seat and a window. It's nice Korean on the floor. And you're going from carpet in the cabin back out onto a timber floor in the high traffic area. So it's a bit more practical. Access into the bilge below, and then we'll go into the kiddies cabin. But on the way there, what I might do, because there's another door. So this is the day head for operational purposes, but when it's of an evening, this kiddies cabin has private access to this day head. So this door is lockable, or it should be. Yes, it is. So come in here, come in this way, and you still have a separate shower. You got the overhead hatch just there. You got the nice window. Actually, I just want to show you this. So for the Aussies watching, you can block out all the sun. We got this thing. Should go that way, and that actually just tucks in there. So you don't have to have any UV coming into the boat when you don't wish. It's probably relevant in Thailand too, to be fair. So super nice finish. The high gloss is great, but then come in through this way and come on down. This is a really nice cabin. Like, I don't even know whether you'd call this a kiddies cabin. It's quite plush. So if you just got two adults who are not a couple, I think I'd be happy here, because the floor comes down. There's actually an immense amount of headroom. Look, I'm 5'7". Look how far. I can only just touch the roof. So that's good. I think you find that on all these Rivieras, to be fair. They are just, they're designed for taller people. You're going to be happy at the helm, moving around. You're never struggling for head height. So basically we have this similar nice touch on the bed head. Behind me, we've got some opening, bedside table things, phone charging. All your light switch operation is here. We've got mood lights, we've got down lights, we've got overhead storage, air conditioning control, another TV tucked in there, and then we've got a hanging locker behind this door. But let's come on with me and have a look at the master, because this is possibly one of the main highlights of the boat. You can really see yourself enjoying a long amount of time on this vessel. This is your washer dryer, which is quite clearly lending itself to longer amounts of time on board. We have some drawers here and here, but check out this head. So it's a sliding door, and then behind, this is where you close the cabin off, but behind this door, there's two doors and a massive hanging locker just in here. So that's directly opposite the head. But come in, I'll stand in here for perspective. It's a long, large head and shower. So this is the space that you have. Look how long this bench top is here with all of these opening storage lockers. We've got overhead storage. You can put all your smelly soaps and things in here. And then you've got a heated towel rack just overhead there. That's going to be nice for winter. This opens, 240 charging, more storage, toothbrush holder, air conditioning, and a proper big shower just in here. Actually, I might just jump in there for perspective. So it's got an L-shaped seat. It feels like a sauna, like it's Look how much space we have in here. It's awesome. So that's where you get your air conditioning, so you can still keep the area nice and comfortable for you, which is great. So, but come from here straight down. So we're still on the hard floor. Then we go down one step, but you see the roof design. If you're a tall guy, you're not going to hit your head because that's been thought of. So you come down onto the carpet. How nice is this space? This is super plush, and I think if you're wanting to spend a decent amount of time on your boat, you're going to enjoy this because it's clearly full beam. You got the big fixed window, 4 opening ports on either side. They're all alarmed on Rivieras, so if you take off forgetting to open one, it's going to let you know at the helm. But you've got this beautiful space. You can sit up in bed. We've actually got more down lights. I turned them off because they were interfering with my camera. But you've got this beautiful high gloss finish with air conditioning pumping on that side and around the boat. And then you've got this nice little sort of vanity slash storage area, the TV up on the main bulkhead, control, air conditioning, light control, bilge access, immense amount of storage over there on the port side as well. Bedside tables, reading lights, just super, super pleasant area. You could hang out here for a long time. I feel like you could almost have a little Nespresso machine down here as well if you just wanted to get up in the mornings and have quiet time by yourself, because it's such a pleasant space. But it doesn't end. We've still got our own walk-in wardrobe and equipment space. So this is an optional crew space, or in this layout, it's an equipment space. So we do have a pocket door to make this private if it was a crew area. But come on in, we've actually got hanging area, we've got all these drawers, shoe storage under there, another locker behind here, drawers behind here. So you can just imagine all, jewelry, all that sort of stuff. It's got a safe place to go. We even have this nifty little device here. So you've got all of that extra hanging storage. Remember, we've got the big hanging storage just at the entrance to the master. But this little thingamajiggy here, see how it comes out on an angle? So this is for putting coat hangers. So you get to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more coats, and then when it's not in use, it just gets out of the way. I think that's really clever. I like that. So this is a waterproof door. Come on in, and this would be either the crew cabin, or as we have it in this function, it's the equipment space. So we've actually got a wine cooler, storage, drawers and lockers, like a workspace or a storage area just here, but it would be a berth if it was the crew cabin. We've got big opening doors here. We can actually see all of your engine spares and your oils can be stored in here. More storage behind here. Little seat access to some of the fuses behind here, and your primary engine battery switches are actually just behind this door on a panel. And up this ladder is the hatch into the cockpit, the forward hatch just aft of the entry into the saloon. But come on in. Actually, I'm going to grab the camera and you're coming with me, and we're going to have a look at the engine bay. Yes, this is an engine bay. Oh, sorry for the disturbance on the camera. I'm not sure what to do about that because I need the light. Yes, this is an engine bay that you want to send your mechanic into. So we are sacrificing some volume because of the tender garage. So that's actually the winch pulling up the tender. It's insulated. However, it's still an operational space because you can still stand when you move around the engine. So we're actually looking at the port side right now. That's the generator. You can see the extractor fans aft, the air conditioning Glendenning coil. After that, a water tank. Below that, we're just overhead of the IPSs, just there. And then we've got batteries on the center line, raw water intakes. Now we're looking over to the starboard side. We've got the hot water tank, and there is all of our cooling and refrigeration. And we've got another tank underneath that, extractor fans. You can see some of the drainage from on deck, batteries on the starboard side to balance out the weight of the genset. And I'm just standing on some checker plate just here. And then I've actually got the big Fireboy system just here. So it's very, very professionally done. Everything, you can actually see some jack shafts going back to the IPS units to keep the engines forward a little bit, and the seat keeper on the center line just aft. But you are sacrificing to get the looks of the boat and to get that internal tender garage. You are sacrificing a lot of stand-up headroom when compared to say some of the SUV or the SMY models, because you've got the tender up on the bow or out the back. So you do you. All right, guys. So that's the hatch that I was talking about that comes from the crew space equipment room. Let's go up to the bow, because that's the final part of the boat I need to show you. Don't forget, guys, I'm not selling any of these boats. I'm not a journalist, and I'm not doing paid advertorials. I literally just make these videos for you to help yourself. So if you get value from it, just please subscribe, share it with your mates, give us a like, as much engagement as possible, because that's literally how I open doors when I go and introduce myself to factories who don't know who I am. And hopefully with that evidence from you, it helps me get on more boats. And please do jump in the comments and tell me what boat you have now and what boat you're comparing this with or looking at buying, because that literally helps me make decisions on what boats I need to film for you next. So thanks again. Anyway, let's cover this bow area, and there's pros and cons to everything. This is super stylish boat, a lovely bow lounge for a couple of people. However, we don't have deep storage lockers on either side for fenders like you do, say, on the SUVs, because it's not that style of boat. So you have shallower lockers on either side. You've got a cover that goes over this, headrests that just flip up just here, 3 drink holders on either side, and you've got adequate access forward and aft, and you do have enough grab holds, but you don't have as much as you do, say, on some of the bigger boats on the sport motor yachts. It is noticeable. One of the other main differences, so if you literally are doing lots of this style of boating, going to an anchorage, picking up lunch and hanging out with lots of kids, this is actually going to be safer than some of the other designs, because you can see they've actually enclosed this whole area, so no little ones are going to go getting their feet caught in anchor chain, as could be a risk on some of the other designs. And essentially all they've done, gas strut, boom, boom, that one unlocks like so, and now we've got access to the bow roller, good solid stainless steel single bow roller. It is weighted in such a manner that the anchor is going to swivel on raising if it comes up backwards, and it will stow in the correct direction. But you also have a camera, so you can see if it has or not. But we also have storage for some, we just put the bow cover there, but that is also raw and freshwater wash and pressure wash down, and you can do the manual operation, well, not the manual, the other operation for the windlass up here in the bow. And this is a usable fender locker, so you can get a lot of fenders in here. You can see we've got the little attachments for the line. We can secure this door open just here so it doesn't fall on your feet, and you will use this because it's going to be useful, because we don't have those deeper fender lockers in that location as you do on some of the other designs, which have a different purpose in my opinion. So boom, boom, that's good. Same amount of access on both port and starboard. You can see with all these Sport Yacht Platinums, they actually have the roof line is a nice different color. Instead of going for the white, we have this super cool color that matches the bow on this particular boat. And you can see the wing design, I'm going to call it a wing, I'm not sure what the technical term for it is, where we have the radar, we got the VHS, we got the domes, we got the wind instrument, the all-round white light and the horns, and our VHF, or not VHF, our GPS aerial mounted in that location. Looks cool, looks sporty, looks aggressive. And if you're thinking about height above the waterline for doing the Great Loop or doing intercoastal waterways with bridges, this again is going to be a boat that may favour that style of boating, because again we can get under bridges, so you wouldn't necessarily have to load up that much height if that was a concern to you for some longer distance intercoastal cruising. So think about that for how you choose to boat. It's winter, you know, I love boating in winter because less people are out, you got the whole joint to yourself, and it's fantastic. Why wouldn't you want to be out here? So pros, cons, performance, competition. pros for this design, the visibility is fantastic. The sloped bow is really great. This actual layout is, in my personal opinion, it's ideal for the entertainer. Just drop the pick, lower the swim platform, open the garage, drop your toys in the water. You are ready to rock and roll. No one's going to be getting sunburnt for a whole day out on the water here. You can do it any season that you wish. You're going to have excellent views from an entertainment perspective, but from that operational perspective, I really like this boat from that perspective as well. So no matter whether you need to look forward or aft, you've got full control on this boat, and the entertaining is just fantastic. It really is, and it keeps its looks. I know that's important to a lot of people. You know, if you want a real stylish, sleek looking boat without a tender hanging out on the back of the transom, up on the bow or the roof, you don't have to have that. This thing looks cool. This would fit in any European marina where everyone's very heavy on the looks focus, but equally, it works in America and Australia because it's way more practical than any of those European boats. This is a proper boat that, yes, you can run it with a captain if you wish, but you can totally run this thing yourself with a little bit of training. This is probably going to be one of the easier sport yachts in this size to operate super short-handed. So that's what I like. Cons, well, it's a Riviera. It's really hard to fault these boats, but if you want to do more of your boating offshore, then maybe consider the SUV, because the hull design is different. It's got a bit more of a flare at the bow. This thing is in its element, cruising high speed in normal day-to-day operations. It's totally fine in the ocean. I would drive this from Melbourne to the Whitsundays, which is thousands of nautical miles for anyone who's not from this part of the world. Not a problem at all. But what I'm saying is it will throw a little bit more water up and over the side because of this lower bow, which is fantastic for visibility perspective and those reasons, but therefore it's gonna encourage a little bit more water up on deck. So just decide how you're gonna use the boat. I genuinely think if you are someone who entertains all summer long, whether you're in America, up in Maine or Seattle, and then you wanna come down south for the winter to Florida, or San Diego, I guess, and in Australia, Sydney, and then heading north to Queensland. If that's how you boat, this thing will be freaking amazing. It'll be really, really good. Well, how does it perform and what should we compare it to? I'm gonna cover that in the next video. So click on the link coming up on the screen right now. We are gonna drive it inshore and offshore and do a bit of close quarters maneuvering and bring you along for the ride. Then we'll compare it to some direct competitors that might come up for you to go and do your comparisons. Hope that was useful. Love you lots. See you somewhere around the world next time. See you guys.